Alright, in this video we're gonna create interactable objects for our game. Like when you hover an object, a hand icon appears, you can grab it, you can use that object, do whatever you want. It is interactable. So inside the player script, I have a reference to the main camera, and also I have access to the hand icon UI's game object. Here I'm going to create a method that indicates whether I am looking at a specific tag, like if I am looking at a game object with a specific tag. The reason I'm making this method static is that I want to be able to access that from any script, and it's gonna return a bool indicating that if I am looking at an object with a specific tag that we are going to pass as an argument. I called this method isPlayerLookingAt, and inside we're going to use our camera, which was a static variable, to do a raycast. We're going to do the raycast from the position of our camera. So the position of our camera or the position of our player. Because this is a static method, we cannot use instance members, so we're going to use main camera's position because it is an static member. So we're going to do the ray from the main camera's position and in the direction of the camera's forward. So main camera dot transform dot forward. And this is our ray, which I like to call it I. We're also going to need a raycast hit. I'm going to call it look because this is going to determine what we are looking at. Here we're going to do the raycast part, physics.raycast. We're going to pass the I and the look variable using the alt keyword. It's going to put the data and the information that we need inside our look variable. So if we actually look at a game object with the collider, we get into this if statement. Else, we're going to return false. So, I mean, if we are not looking at any object with a collider, we're going to return false. And if we are looking at an object with a collider, then we're going to check the distance, because I don't want my hand icon appear on the interactable objects like the door from like 20 meters away. So I have already created a float variable called attention distance, and we're going to check if the look.distance is less than or equal to that. And we're also going to check the tag. We're going to compare the tag of the collider that we are looking at to the tag that we have passed as an argument to this method. And then if that is true, we're going to return true. If it's not true, we're going to return false. I hope that makes sense. So this should give us a good starting point so that we can detect if we, here I say if is player looking at, and if player is looking at an object with the tag usable, then we're going to debug a message. So I might also want to enable the use icon, the hand icon, when the player is looking at an object with the tag usable. As you can see, I have a plane here with the collider and the tag usable. So whenever we are looking at any object that has a collider and has the tag usable, we are going to have a hand icon appear. So use icon.setActive true. So let me say use icon.setActive false, so that when we are not looking at that object, it is not appear. So let's test it out and see what it does. Okay. So as you can see, when the raycast hit an object with the tag usable, our method returns true, and we have a hand icon appear. So far so good, but what about the interaction part? Like, this is only detecting the tag. So the way we are going to create the interactable objects is using polymorphism. So, if you're familiar with the concept of polymorphism in object-oriented programming, then it shouldn't be really complicated for you. We have a base class of usable object, and uh, uh, we create the other interactable objects inheriting from the usable object class. And the usable object has a virtual method of use, and the other interactable classes override that method, and we can just store the object that we have done the raycast to in a using a usable object variable, and then we can call the use method on that one object, and whatever the type that actual interactable object is, it's gonna we're gonna call its use method. We're gonna see that in a moment. So this is our usable object class. I have a public virtual void use. I don't even need to implement it here. If you do an implementation here, like I do a debug.log here saying used, if you don't implement the method in other classes that you are inheriting from usable object class, it's gonna do what you've done in the usable objects use method. But if you implement it, yeah, it will do what you have done in the other class. Oh, I suck at explaining stuff. So here I say that if the usable object that we have passed to the method is not null, indicating that we have actually an object there, then if we get the input, the G key on the keyboard, we're gonna call its use method. And as you can see here, this door's handle actually has a usable tag, but it doesn't have a usable object class, but it has a doors script. In both of which, in Pickable Object, I have inherited from the usable object class, and here I can just override that use method, public override void use. And you can see that there's base.use. It means that if you don't implement this method, it's going to do that debug.log that we have done in the base class on the usable object class. So here I'm just going to implement this method. This is a pickable object, so when we have used it, when the hand icon appeared and we have click G, I'm going to destroy it so that it looks like if it is grabbed, it is picked up. And in our doors script, I am also inheriting from usable object class, and I am implementing the use class. You can play an animation, opening animation. You can open the door. You can play a sound effect of a door or whatever. For now, I'm just going to do a debug here, saying that the door is opened, and we're going to test it out right now. So we have a couple of errors here. They are in my player script, saying that the usable object variable, the object variable, is not assigned any value in all code paths. So yeah, we need to give it a null value before. I mean, chances are we're not looking at an object with a usable tag or with an object that has a class that inherits from usable object. So in those cases, we are assigning it a null value. So you see, when I press G, the things I wrote in the use method is done. The same thing with the door, and that's it. And if you are not familiar with the polymorphism concept in object-oriented programming, I can just demonstrate it with an example for you. Imagine if you have a player, in which you uh, uh, take inputs, like you are checking if the mouse button is pressed or the reload button is pressed, and then you have an array of weapons. You want to store all of your weapons in an array, and just like any shooting games, you have a you have a lot of weapons in your inventory, but only one of them at a time is being used. So you have an array of weapons, uh, but your weapons are different. Like uh, there can be a shotgun, like that shoots multiple bullets at a time, or a pistol, or a sniper, or a rocket launcher, or whatever. But one thing that they all have in common is that they're all weapons, and that they all have a shoot method and a reload method. So you can just create a base class called weapon, and create two virtual methods called shoot and reload, and then inside your shotgun script you can inherit from the weapon class, and then you can implement the shoot and the reload method for the shotgun, and then inside your player script uh, all of your weapons are treated the same way. Whether it's a shotgun, it's a machine gun, whether it's a rocket launcher, you're storing them as a weapon variable, and you are calling their shoot and reload method. That is the one of the uses of polymorphism, and yeah, yeah, that's it. That's it for this video. Um, I hope you could possibly learn something from it, because I suck at explaining things. There were a lot of distracting noises, and that I am so bad at English, my accent and everything. But anyway, if you have learned something, consider giving it a like, and maybe share this video and subscribe maybe. But anyway, until next time, peace.